As we've been learning so much about Microsoft Excel, it is worth giving some time and attention to Google Sheets. So we have two main priorities for this activity. First of all, to compare and contrast Excel and Google Sheets, and then to explore the different considerations of collaboration. So, Microsoft Excel versus Google Sheets. You can find a few different opinions on this, but I think we can consistently say that these are the two strongest points of each application. So, Excel, you've already been exploring all of the functionality and the features. You really cannot do the full range of data analysis and manipulation in Google Sheets as you can in Excel. The two platforms have extremely similar formulas, functions, ways of writing, ways of use, and still, though, you can't do as much on Google Sheets as you can on Excel. Also, the capacity, you can definitely hit a limit on how much data Google Sheets can handle before you'll hit that limit on Excel. As far as Google Sheets is concerned, you have much better opportunities for collaboration. So, as an online platform, you can use Google Sheets with other people in the room or other people across the country. We've got many classroom activities where we've got all of the students in a class of 10 or 25 or even 45 students working together inside of one Google Sheet. And I've even done a project where there were people across 4 different states and we were pooling data instead of doing that just verbally or through a video call and having one person have to type it all in. We were able to put our data into a Google Sheet and compare the numbers together. It made it a tremendously um, much easier project than it would have been otherwise. Affordability. So at CNU, thankfully, we've got a license for Excel, so you don't really feel this as a CNU student, but definitely Google Sheets is offered for free to the public. And so some people are paying either a one-time cost or a monthly cost for Microsoft Excel, whereas you don't have those same costs with Google Sheets. Another piece kind of ties in with the collaboration is the ability to do integration with other platforms. So because Google Sheets is an online platform, does offer collaboration, you can also do integrations with programs like Dropbox or even social media platforms like Instagram. You can have use different APIs, application programming interface, outside the scope of this particular class, but basically it's a type of software that allows other tools to work together. So in that kind of environment, you can say, okay, whenever I post something on Instagram, add that to a Google Sheet. Um, Helps to, if you want to have a record of data or a record of new Twitter followers, add those new followers to a Google Sheet with their names and everything. You've probably seen or probably created Google Forms yourself. You can have Google Form internally. Google Form can send its data to a Google Sheet, but that also works with other platforms too, like JotForm, for example. So collaboration, integration with other tools, and just overall affordability definitely stand out. Now, with all of this said, both of these companies are working to gain more market share, which allows them to, increase their advertising revenue and probably even their their sources for their AI tools. Also, a topic for another course, but they definitely benefit from having multiple users. So Microsoft a while back introduced Microsoft 365 in an attempt um, to enable some of the collaboration that Google Sheets provided natively. Google Sheets is also working on adding different types of analytical tools, being able to work with outside data sources, things like that. So this will continue to change over the years, but it's definitely worth remembering that, those main differences that we looked at and which platform is best. So you can decide in any given project which tool should you be using. And often there will be a clear distinction. Few other differences in terms of file saving. Excel, you've got to save onto a computer and regularly save your changes. Google Sheets does automatically save, but Microsoft has a feature where you can force it to do auto saving. It does also try to pull you into the OneDrive infrastructure, which you may or may not be fond of. I personally am not very fond of it, and I find it kind of confusing the way it subtly pulls my students to save their files in OneDrive without them really noticing what's going on. It's subtle and a bit irritating in my opinion. Um, but again, they're trying to do more of what the other platform does. And so a few differences here and there, but definitely two very, very powerful tools that work really well together. So on that note about collaboration, yes, Google Sheets is amazing at collaborating with other people. So the question is, as you look at this object here, this pile of blocks, do all of these blocks fit together? The answer is no. They are not all going to be able, they're not all compatible with each other. They're not going to fit together as they are. So as you think about collaborating, working with different types of people, we also want to look at this as an example of working with different data sets. So if you have different people, in this case, it said, hey, let's build something big. Everyone bring your blocks. And everyone brought their blocks, but they're different. They don't quite fit neatly together. And so in the same way, as you are pooling data from different sources, in this example, we're looking at Google Sheets where people are adding their data to one document. But the same thing applies if they brought it to you, on some other type of medium, you were building an Excel spreadsheet yourself. Same concept applies. When you're pooling data from different sources, you have to really be proactive about watching for problems that can be caused by inconsistency of data. So depending on how the data, how each study or each person or each source collected and pulled their data, depending on how that data happen, how the data are organized, how they're um, sorted, filtered, organization, how they're captured, how they've been entered into the spreadsheet. All of these things, if not consistent, can cause you some major problems. So this activity, you're going to take a look at the Google Sheet that we've provided and look for some potential problems and figure out what to do in advance that's going to allow you to work with data from different sources. So we'll take a look at that in the discussion board.